With the agent itself, we're going to create a variable called model. Now for model, we're finally using this OpenAI package that we've imported from the Livekit /agents-plugin-OpenAI SDK. We've set up new OpenAI .realtime model. And what that does is allow us to feed a few ingredients to activate this agent. We want to give it instructions. You are an assistant that can help users with their journal entries and calendar events. Change that. You are Sabrina, comma, an assistant that helps users get the weather from any city in the US. In this bare bones example, they have a weather function, and I'll get to that in just a second, but sky's the limit there. Here we have model. Now, sometimes you won't see this here. I suggest that you make sure that you do have model property set up. And the reason why is because then it'll default to a different model from OpenAI. And the default model that they use is the most expensive OpenAI model as far as tokens. And I don't want you to burn through your tokens because they can get pretty expensive. This model is one of the cheapest models that they have. So I suggest you go with this one. It's the GPT-40-realtime-preview-2024-12-17. This one, as well as the mini, are cheapest models that I've seen. Here we have voice. So there are a bunch of different voices we can choose. This is the voice we're choosing for this one here. For modalities, this is a different type of inputs that the agent can take, text or audio or both. I suggest you put both. And I think the default's also both. So if you didn't have that here, it would probably just assume that it's both. Those are the 4 properties that you want with your AI agent. How long can this be? Well, I wouldn't make it too long because then it'll cut into your token usage if it's extremely long, because the AI has to interpret this. Make it long enough that you can deal with different edge case scenarios. Here we have function context. Now this is probably the second most important part of creating this agent. With the function context, we're literally giving this AI agent powers. If you want to think of superpowers, we're giving this agent powers. One of the powers we've given this agent at this point is the ability to dictate the weather. So within here, we have weather, description, and parameters. Now, we also see one of the imports being used here. Which import is that? Well, this is the LLM import, which is the one that we got from the Livekit /agents. So with this LLM import, we can go ahead and utilize a property called function context. And now we're giving that a value. We're giving it an object rather. So the object that we're giving it, well, let's break it down. We have weather, which is a property, and we can name this whatever we want. If we wanted this to be create journal, create calendar event, well, we can name it different things. At this point, within weather, we now have to define what that actual function looks like. So we give a description, get the weather in a location. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Now we give it parameters. What are parameters? Well, when the user is speaking with the agent, and we can also consider the user being a participant, we want it to be able to take and extract certain words that the user is saying so that it can use it in the function call and activate its powers accordingly. So when the user is talking, they're having an awesome conversation, and then the user says, I wonder what the weather is like in San Diego. Well, at that point, it's going to extract San Diego from that audio or text that the user has specified. It's going to immediately activate this function with San Diego in here. And then you can put a debug in here so that you can actually see that it's using this. You can also skip that. The most important thing is we're going to go ahead and fetch from this weather API. So this is an external API. You can use any API you wanted. And it's going to put in those parameters for location in there and put in the format that it wants. After it gets its response, it's going to convert that response to text. And at this point, it's going to say, well, the weather in San Diego right now is, and then weather. So that's the response that we got from this API, and the AI literally is going to tell that back to the person. Now, one very important thing that you need to realize is that all the responses that the AI speaks to the user or sends to the user has to be text so that the AI can understand it. If you allow it to send JSON or different things like that, it will not work. If you get a bunch of data, try to JSON stringify it, make sure that you're sending back text or you will get an error. Okay, so we've seen a few things there. We finally have seen LLM used. After we've created our function, and you can have a series of these, right? You can have as many as you want. I've seen some people with 20. I've seen some people with 15. I've seen some people with 7. We're going to set up a few ourselves. The default one, they've set up one for you. So with each function you set up, you need this setup to be distinct for the actual functions, and you can't have functions with the same name. So you can have a get weather, you can have create a make-believe story, you can have get an Uber price, you can have a make a call to a restaurant, you can have a record this patient's name and their symptoms. You can have a bunch of different ones, but you can't have ones with the same name. So I hope that's self-explanatory. Okay, so now we're going to go over what to do after we've created this function. So we're on line 54.